Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and could you believe it has been a good long while, it seems, since we've had a proper Kingdom Death video on this channel. And that's kind of crazy because I feel like that's really what was like the bread and butter here for a while. I mean, I was doing constant unboxings, and I was still doing them, and I'm now turning to the side and realizing that there's a stack of Kingdom Death boxes that I seem to have forgotten about, in addition to a varied assortment of characters from the Gambler's Chest and other small boxes that I have purchased in between whenever the last one was and now. But I figure with me getting news that my Black Knight has shipped with the Millennium Butcher right around the corner, it should be dropping probably by the time you are watching this video or relatively soon thereafter, or it already has and you're already building it for all I know in the future. But two new ones, relatively new. I haven't seen any videos of them yet, and they showed up somewhat recently, so I thought, you know what, let's get back into it. It's been a while. I'm trying to finish up, as of this filming of this video, have about 7 unfinished Kingdom Death ladies, and I think 1 gentleman, on my painting table at the moment. But if you've ever seen photos of my painting table, it is always covered with an assortment of half-done figures. So hopefully, these two really jumped out at me as well. Stampede Glaive Xell and Lunar Aya. Lunar Aya looking a lot like our Lunar Twilight Knight, at least with the base, but the pose is a little bit different, and she's got the little firecrackers there. Stampede Glaive Xell just looks pretty neat, kind of like the Long Claw Girl. We have the focus on their weapon. What's interesting is both of these have completely different boxes. So this is a traditional tuck box. Doink! Oh, that's kind of nice having everything all plopped in together. Part of a lion on there. Single sprue individual model, whereas Lunar Aya has a nice kind of a a card stock, or a heavier, thicker kind of plastic card, almost nicer, more durable, I'd say, than the traditional brown boxes that a lot of the resin and photo resin models come in. These are like my go-to boxes for when I'm filming stuff and like carrying things around the house, and they have an assortment of things all over the place. There are so many of these Kingdom Death boxes in my house. Anyway, enough about the boxes. Alright, I'm going to probably save that one. Reminds me of like the old checkbook boxes my parents used to get when, you know, people used checks. Do people still use checks? I know I have a checkbook, and I can't remember the last time I used it. Okay, we've got the Bian Pao. We've got a new seed pattern. Huh. For up-to-date rules, scan the QR code. I'm assuming that, yeah, this is the seed pattern. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that's just the actual accessory. Okay. That's kind of cool, though, that they have a QR code. I haven't scanned it yet. I like the gold. It's a nice touch to it. Scantily clad as always. I'm kind of curious what kind of survivors are going to come with the Butcher. Personally, I'm at the point where I have built so many resin and photo resin models, I'm actually kind of more eagerly anticipating the plastic stuff. Why is that? I don't know. The plastics tend to be a little bit larger. So Xell does not have any kind of special base insert, whereas our Lunar Aya does. I mean, this doesn't look too complex, other than the fact that her Bian Pao holder stick is kind of thin, and it looks kind of heavy, and that always worries me. And the multi-part fish heads, but nothing we haven't seen or done before. I probably should finish my Twilight Night Lunar New Year one. My dad finished one, I don't know how many ages ago. I'll grab her, just for comparison's sake. Did they do... I felt like they did a larger scale version of her, but I could be wrong. It's a lot of parts for a typical figure. Huh. gnashes audibly. I was going to say, this has to be some kind of an actual, you got to get the stuff from the... Yeah. Figured it'd be an indomitable resource for the Screaming Antelope. She looks cool. I like the colors. I'm not sure which artist this is off the top of my head. It's obviously not Lockman. Lockman Lamb does all the usual stuff. Aya looks like it. I want to say it might be that newer Korean artist that they got on the team. Actually, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, full arm, full legs, antelope head for the shoulder, various parts of the cape, the main body, and the namesake weapon, and her head. I mean, that's actually pretty straightforward. And the breasts, of course, because it's a Kingdom Death model. Breasts always got to be a separate piece. Aya looks a lot more complex, but neither of these ladies, considering how many, probably in the hundreds. I don't feel like that's an exaggeration at this point. Hundreds of Kingdom Death models I have built, I guess especially if you count all of the various pinups, armor sets, narrative sets, just Echoes of Death, expansions. I feel like I have painted and done a lot. Someday I'll count them. That would be crazy. Maybe I'll do that for a contest. I'd wanted to do a contest for a while now. How many painted Kingdom Death models do I own? Anyway, speaking of painted Kingdom Death models, let me get these ladies built. We'll grab a couple of the painted stuff I've got laying around, and we'll see how everything turns out. Maybe I'll find a few surprises laying around that I really probably should have already taken care of. So if you want to see that, sit tight, and we'll check it out. And we're back with some finished figures. So here we have our Stampede Glaive, all put together. Unfortunately, the way the construction works, that cape is gonna have to be attached because, well, where the head and torso all meet, there's just no avoiding it. I didn't actually realize the cape is supposed to be glued down the center, so I just kind of slobbered some on there. Yeah, me and my good old trusty orange tube of testers, I just, you know, I've got like the Tamiya all fine, you know, brush stuff, but there's just something visceral and nostalgic about the smell of testers. Can't get high off the stuff anymore. I mean, but it's just, I can't build a plastic kit without a bottle, tube, whatever you want to call it, of testers nearby. I mean, I know there's plenty of other plastic cements, and it just pains me that I'm not going to be able to have that anymore. I thought that was going to be one of those evergreen things, but yeah. I mean, I've got my Tamiyas and all that. Let me see a little bit of cleanup here. One of the cool things, everything kind of really meshed together well. You can see where most of the seams are. There's a little bit right there by the hair, and I need to fix that, obviously, but that's the joy of having this super zoomed in. One thing I liked, because I was super duper worried about just the size and weight of that glaive of hers, how was that going to attach? Well, there's actually a nice little indentation right there in her hair to line up with both the hand and the shaft of the spear, glaive, whatever you want to call it, to get everything all nice and attached. There is no actual little key or plug in that hand. It's all a smooth surface there, so that is nice to see. Now, with our Lunar Aya, we did have that little spot to actually attach her firecrackers there in her hand. I think I sort of kind of got everything all lined up nice and effectively for her sword blade hanging off of her shoulder there with the scabbard. It was a very thin and very, very tiny connection where you had to cut it off the sprue. Be very careful removing the strap parts there. Otherwise, Aya herself was pretty easy. You can see, I thought there was a little bit of a gap between where the breasts and the rest of the torso attached to each other. I filed it down and it didn't seem to really make any difference, unfortunately. I also would suggest glue that hand prior to gluing the arm on, because it's going to open up a whole world of trouble. And I know that from past experiences with Kingdom Death models. Take my word on that. The base itself was pretty easy. Just getting all of the little fish heads kind of lined up. They're all pretty easy. And then all of them are keyed completely differently at the bottom. So attaching them to the base was no real challenge. I'm going to say, despite the amount of parts, she went together pretty well. Not as easy as Xell with her glaive, but easy nonetheless. I am going to give the edge to Xell, I think, just because I like the design, I like the colors, and I feel like Lunar Aya is a bit too similar to our Lunar Twilight Knight, who you can see has had extensive work finished on her at this point, right? She's not attached all that well to her base, but the construction, the bases, while similar, are pretty different. So if you were worried about that, and I'll admit I actually was, they're not all that similar in the end. She does actually have that sword line up flush with the fish head, sort of rocks or whatever's back there. It's just with the blue tack. She's a bit lopsided in actually connecting to that contact point, so she didn't really want to work that well. So I am aware of how she's supposed to go together. Just because I had him handy, this is my absolute favorite guy from the Gambler's Chest. He just... you could tell he is ready for action. Look at the grimace on that face. Look at that paunch on him. This guy is nothing but business. I have been absolutely waiting to get him painted, and he's got the nice custom base. One of the narrative sculpts. I forget which one he is. But I grabbed him, and I have one of the antelope armor guys that's going through the King's Hand process there with the curse. You can see he's got the King's Hand, the greaves already going on there. So I figured I should grab some Aya models and other stuff. It's always interesting to see how things compare in terms of size. I know everybody likes to complain about scale creep online. Considering how many Kingdom Death models I've built at this point, yeah, maybe with just the original set, but with older resins even, I don't think it's all that bad. Hospitaller was a bit of an older one. Are they completely to scale? No. Do they look completely out of place with each other? I think they work all right. Grabbing some other weird random ones. The Dragon Princess. I don't know if people are even familiar with some of these. I don't remember if she was resin or photo resin. At this point, speaking of, I don't know what they are, there was this guy I found painted on the shelf. I know he's a Kingdom Death model. I don't know who he is anymore. Was he plastic? He feels like photo resin or plastic. I have no idea. I don't know who that is. I don't know the character's name. Here, we'll grab some of the other Ayas. I really like the Oktoberfest one. That's one of my favorites. I was going to grab the maids, but I don't think the maids are actually Aya models. The naked maids. Got an Apotheosis here hanging out. This was the, what, Anti-Paladin from one of the Echoes of Death. I don't remember which one now. Like I said, I have built an awful lot. Is this like the Mist Riken armor or something? She was fairly recent, but she's a bit shorter than Xell there. My other favorite Aya, the Barbarian one. Looks to be pretty comparable to Xell at least. Or Summer Beach Twilight Knight. I wish this model was as detailed as the larger pinup one. Oh, I didn't grab the pinup. Shoot. I grabbed this pinup. Dung Beetle Dancer. And the Goblin King. Because, you know, gotta have those gentlemen represented if we're gonna show off Kingdom Death models, right? Ah, you know what? I actually did grab the Adventure Maids. I want to say these were from Black Friday. I think they were only available on Black Friday. Of course, if you're into the Kingdom Death stuff, you know that Black Friday is the day to get these models. I did find the Lunar Twilight Knight, my dad did. Oh, those stupid fish. I didn't realize they were fish until he had painted that, actually. I need to give him a new 54mm painter scale one. And then just tossing in another of the larger models. The Death King's armor. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like everybody online just wants to complain and gripe about it, and I don't know what anybody else ever does with it, but me, I mean, I'll play the game, and I'm super duper slow about getting anywhere in it. I don't have the time to devote to it, but I'm hoping I can do that one of these days, and actually have my table cleared off long enough to set the game out. But I just absolutely love the variety of figures and designs at this point. I like that everything isn't just codified into certain kinds of armor kits, and I was kind of bummed out about some of the later Echoes of Death, because it did seem like they were just all kind of falling into similar armor sets that we'd already seen. I like when things, you know, have specific call-outs, like with the Screaming Antelope there, but kind of do their own distinct style. So I really like this model. Looking forward to painting her. And hopefully this is going to be a good kick in the pants to get both of my Lunar models all finished up here. And as always with the Kingdom Death stuff, if it's in plastic, there's a good chance you're going to be able to get it later, with the exception of the 10th anniversary survivors, and I know those have shown up again since. But don't go hitting up all the resellers. You can get this stuff. It comes back to the store regularly. You just got to persevere. It will show up. Except for the Valkyrie and the original Samurai. I have not seen either of those since. So that kind of irks me because I really wanted the Valkyrie. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Anyways, we'll have that link down below if you haven't figured it out, kingdomdeath.com. And hopefully, if you guys want to stick around, I will try to have these showing up in a Monday weekly painting progress video. We always put those up on Mondays if I can actually pick up the brushes. And hopefully, these are going to be still available by the time you check this out. So, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.